He is a life and business strategist, and we love hearing from his hacks. He has these sometimes 3, sometimes 5 steps. He makes everything very simple for us. So, Brad, good morning.
Good morning. Tuning in from Planet Brad, where we always develop our growth plan. No, not really. We're just playing around over here, and we just happen to grow while we're on the path, which is a good way to start out my little segment here. You know, I don't know that I've been great at like formal business plans, writing all this stuff out, putting it in this book of 20 pages and all that. What I do is I morph into my growth plan, and a lot of it starts with everything that we've said before. You know, Michelle mentioned earlier, most people are not willing to change, and or sometimes if you don't have it written out. Now, I'm not saying to not write out your business plan, because that I'll sound contradictory here in a second. But what it is really mapping it out and figuring out where you want to go, and how long it's going to take you there. And what I do is I surround myself with the people that are already on that path or already where I want to be, so that I can morph and just naturally grow into that. Because, I mean, Tony said it a million times. All of us have said it. You're the average of the 5 people, 6 people you hang around. So I do that on purpose. And when I say that, you know, Tony was talking about you have to execute, you have to take action. And one of the things that I do is I learn how to be the best at whatever I'm doing. I'll give you an example of this. In real estate, I mean, I hang around top producers, I go to the conferences, and then I take action on my notes at the end of the conference. I've got a great little system. Geez, you surprised? A system for when I go to conferences. I actually print, I have 5 lines on a piece of paper that are my 5 best ideas for the conference that I attend. Now, if it's a 3-day conference, I'll have 3 pages, one for each day. At the end of the day, I'll go back through my notes and grab the 5 starred items, 5 best starred items, or most important to me, starred items in all of my notes. And there's probably 50 starred items, circled, highlighted, yellow highlighter, however you do that. So I'll get my 5 ideas down. And for an example of a 3-day conference, I'll have 15 ideas at the end of the conference. And then I have my top 3 action items that I'm going to take away from those 15. So what are the next 3 things I'm going to put into play? And I'll come back to that in just a second. But I do get certifications. When I became a coach, somebody just asked me like, wow, you're so successful in real estate. Why don't you coach people? I'm like, well, I mean, I love to share stuff and make it easier for everyone. However, once they labeled me as a coach, I went through 2 national coaching certifications, because if I'm going to be a coach, I need to be the best coach I can be. And nobody told me I had to do that. I just did that. Dr. Sean was talking about programming. Man, conferences, online webinars, they run in the background all day long. If I'm sitting at my desk doing kind of office, busy work, like this morning, I was putting a new listing on, and I've got things running, like just webinars and conferences, just to soak it into my head. Here's a tip, special tip that most people don't get. If you find something that is really valuable, that has great information, and you took a lot of starred notes, listen to it over and over and over. I found that repetition is what kind of programs it in my brain, just like Dr. Sean said. Oh, hopefully I'm not losing my connection. Programming is hearing it 4, 5, 6 times. See, first time you hear it, it's exciting. Second time you hear it, it's still exciting. A fourth time you hear it, something starts clicking and you can see how it connects. The 5th and 6th time you hear it, it starts showing up in your life. So I think what I'm going to say, I'm going to leave you with a couple of tips here, and then I'll be done. Know what you want to achieve. Know where you want to be. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is to get a clear picture of what that end looks like visualize it. I've talked about creating that A plus paper where you go 5 years down the road, close your eyes, and just start writing everything that looks like where you are if you completely accomplished everything. The third thing, create a timeline from that. You are here today. That's the vision that you have. What needs to happen in between, and how long do you want it to take to get there? And create that timeline of what you're going to need, who you want to bump into, what certifications you may need. And then the last step is to find those people along that timeline and along that path and be on purpose to get in front of them. I'll give you an example. It goes back to taking action. I have a call with Gary Keller, who started Keller Williams Real Estate, 180,000 agents around the globe. And I just sent him an email 2 days ago and just said, Gary, I've got a lot of stuff on my mind. I just want to dump this down. He responds and goes, I love the way you're thinking. Let's schedule a call. Do you know what it takes to get a call with Gary Keller? Second thing, Michael Gerber. Oh my gosh, I just Googled. Michael Gerber is the father of the E-Myth, entrepreneur myths. One of the top business guru authors of our time that still sells more E-Myth books today than he did 30 years ago. And I just Googled him. There was a phone number, and I left him a message and thanked him for writing his book 30 years ago because it allowed me to leave my business for 5 months in a very bad situation, yet still sell almost 100 homes that year because of the systems. Andy Andrews, if anybody loves Andy Andrews, The Traveler's Gift, those kind of books, man, Andrew was just speaking at a conference. I walked up and introduced myself. I sent him a thank you note for sharing his stuff and that I was a coach. Was there any kind of resource site that he had that I could refer to share his message? He sent me, like literally within 3 days of sending that note, whatever the mail time was to send him the note, him get the note, he packaged up a box of everything he's ever created, DVDs, CDs, his books. He signed it. He wrote me a note back. I mean, I was just like, oh my gosh, Andy Andrews is like a huge author. And all I did was thank him, right? So, and then the last thing, surround myself with top agents. There's a group called Star Power in the real estate industry. And it's 250 of the top real estate agents that meet and share. I actually ended up owning a group called the Cyber Stars, which started back in 1995, was 200 of the top techiest realtors in the world. And what I did, I mean, just by being there and attending, the owner of that, when he went through his second round of cancer, he was looking for somebody to hand the baton off to. Well, what better way to learn from your peers than to be a part of that group and let it grow? So what I do is I surround myself with those people that, like the Cyber Stars, man, they push me to do stuff with that group. They push me to keep that group together. Michael Gerber pushes me. Oh my gosh. I mean, he pushes me hard to keep working on my master plan. So I just surround myself with the people that will push me. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Boom! Nice! And we're very happy that you're here, that you are surrounding us, and you are pushing us for sure. I love what you shared about that. Leaving that thank you note and calling the phone number that you found from internet. God's sakes, yes, that's what we're talking about. After that goal, after that plan, take action. Even though it looks like a small step, like the ones that Brad was mentioning, it's a big step towards your growth. And you never know when you do it with an unexpected heart, like Coach Korn was mentioning. When you are doing it in the flow of your life purpose and surrounded with your values, life always pays you back, bigger than the things that you give to it. It comes back to you. That little step that you're going to take today, that goal that you're going to take today, you never know. Next year, it might be your business partner. Boom, your business grows. You never know. It might be your lover next year. Go for that action. And don't sell.
By the way, do you know how hard it is to get a hold of Coach Brad Korn? Come on now. And here we got him, every day.
Right on. We are the lucky ones. Yeah, for sure. So thank you so much. And another thing that, as Brad was mentioning, as Coach Korn was mentioning, also made me think of what Dr. Sean was mentioning earlier. It's about, I'm looking back in time. I started many moons ago with PDR International. It's a company that teaches timelines and also planning. And then I remember back in university, I took project planning, PMP certifications. But you know what? It's not always about learning those planning methods. We may even create a plan of our own. Whatever that's going to work for you, do that. But I gotta admit, one thing that really shifted my focus from doing into being has been Tony Robbins' planning method. Because in that, he lets you ask this question. After you plan, like know wherever you are and wherever you're going to go and create that timeline and strategies, then he makes you ask this question. Why are you going to become at the end of this process? And he says, write that down. So if you're planning your week and if you're planning it on a Sunday, next Sunday, who are you going to be? What are you going to add to yourself as a value after you accomplish your goals? Well, it's not about all the doings, but it's also about who you will become. Create that growth plan. With that said, Brett, I'm going to come back